follow-up video to the pork belly braciole that I made, and also the I've forgotten what it's called, but it was the pork skin braciole, which is a southern Italian dish from a very poor region. So I kind of deduced from the other video that it would probably be nice if the pork belly was left with the skin on. So I bought some more pork belly. So we'll skin that and have a look at it. So that is, so I don't have to remember, it's £6 a kilo, and there's 960 grams, and it's £5.76. So we'll kind of see what kind of portions we get out of that. And then also there was pork shank as well, which I kind of thought, oh, that's kind of quite interesting. We'll bone that out, and then that was £2.06, and it was £2.50 a kilo, and there's 824 grams. So we'll bone that out, and then we'll kind of see what kind of meat and skin kind of ratio we get, but that might be kind of quite nice rolled up. And then there's a pork bone as well in that, so that'll be nice for the sauce, because it's going to be cooking for a long time. So I haven't got any pre-made tomato sauce, so I'm going to make my own today. So we've got about 300 grams of chopped onions, 100 grams of chopped celery, and 300 grams of chopped carrot, and we've got a sprig of thyme. No garlic, because I tend to eat later throughout the day, and it just makes me really thirsty, just garlic. But a couple of cloves of garlic in there would go work a treat, and then just a couple of tins of cheap tomatoes because they were on offer, and I got some nectar points with them and all that kind of stuff. So it was just a case of those, they're chopped. If they were just peeled plum tomatoes, I would puree them, and then stuffing of the pork bracioles. We've got some bread. I baked it this morning. It's a little bit too fresh. And then we've got some parsley from the garden, and I've got some hard Italian cheese. So that's kind of it. So we will put the vegetables. We'll put a little bit of salt in with the vegetables. There we go. Like that. And then what that will do is it'll draw some of the moisture out, and then we don't need to put any oil in that. But that goes on the stove, and just start to cook the vegetables, just to sweat them down a little bit. A bit of parsley down there as well. So let's have a look at my knife skills and see how this works. What we're going to do first, we'll do this first. So it should be pretty straightforward. But what I did do was I basically put one layer. I broke the pork belly before, basically broke it down into layers. So it's got some bones in there. They'll just whip out. They can go into the stock, as they can go into the sauce as well. So basically what I did with the pork braciole is I used one layer of meat in the pork braciole, and then used the other layer of meat rather than battering it out. Just kind of did it that way. So we'll do that again, but we will leave that layer of skin on, because it was kind of quite nice. It was kind of quite nice. It all kind of combined together. Not everyone's cup of tea, but I thought it was kind of quite nice. So we'll whip off this one first. Showcase my rubbish knife skills and blunt knives. That does not want to blow. I can just tease it away somewhere. That's alright. I'm not a butcher, but just sharp knife-ish. Oh, craft knife actually. One of those extendable craft knives. So just sliced meat like that, away from the sinew and the layer of meat below it, and then we'll have like that, and we'll have, so we'll go there. I don't know how this, we'll see how this turns out. I think there was quite a lot of fat that rendered out of the pork belly, and I don't know if that will be the case if it's encased in skin braciole. I don't know if the fat will be able to render out, so it might be something different, but we'll kind of see. So just little cuts, pulling it away from like this. It is me. I'll be winging this video. I know what I kind of do, what I need to do, but I haven't pre-planned. I haven't made this dish like this before, so it's just going to be me kind of winging. There's no point. I don't know. I kind of think half the interest for me is seeing people's thought process of how we kind of do things. So finished dishes are all very well, but I want to know about how people think about things, you know. So that was kind of what we did last time, and then we put the filling in, and then we rolled it up. Yeah, and then we rolled it up like that, and then tied it, and then that kind of rendered out. So that was kind of quite interesting there. But what's going to happen is, because we've got this layer of fat there, and then we've got the layer of fat underneath the skin there, I don't know if that's just going to render out just as well, and it's not going to tie up just as well, but still I think we'll be okay. So that's that. Those are those, and then that's a bit of bone there. So, but that'll go into the stock, and then let's have a look at the shank. So we'll do the bony out bit. There will be some time stamps and all this, and then I've never boned out a shank before. I think people just cook them whole, but that's not what I'm going to do. Lovely and gelatinous, loads of flavour to it. We might just be able to kind of roll it up, and rolling it up and stuff, it might be kind of quite interesting. Just making sure we get the meat off the bone, and then the bones, I'm going to cook the bone in with the bracioles as well, so we'll get all the flavour from the bone as well, but we won't have the hassle of being given a big pork shank to eat and kind of pick all the meat off the bone. That, where is it? It's just a case of going around things with your knife and digging bits of meat in. It's just practice, like with everything. Rubbish the first time you do something, unless you get lucky. But the rest, most of the things in life just take a bit of practice to get better. It's sometimes kind of a little bit disheartening to see people do things so professionally and thinking that you'll never get to that kind of stage. But of course you'll never get to that stage unless you make the effort and practice and have a go. So where are we? Sometimes just getting your fingers in. So if you get your fingers in, and then you can kind of feel that there's something there that needs to come out. And then just careful with your fingers. You don't want to cut yourself. Working your way around bits of bone and sinew. But this is not going to be that dissimilar from boning out a pig's trotter and then stuffing it, which is a very famous dish. So we can see this bone goes right along there. Could have made it a lot neater than we have, and there's meat still on the bone. That's not part of the job, is it? Let's have a look at that. What have we got here? And then I think we'll be able to roll that up somehow. What we're going to do, yeah, so we will slice there. That's a big bit of sinew that we don't want. No, we'll cut that bit of sinew out. Ordinarily that would melt in the slow kind of cooking process, but we don't kind of want that. So that there. Just a case of flattening it out, so that's better. So that will roll up kind of quite well, and then this bit, a little bit redundant. That's not going to roll up very kind of well, so whip that off. I want it kind of quite square, so we'll whip that off as well. All this spare meat is going to go into the ragu sauce, like that. And whip. I think what we'll do. Don't want that. Get rid of that fat. Yes, this will work. Alright, so those are just cooked down. We'll have pork ragu to do with that. So that's kind of quite flat. So that's okay. We'll put stuffing in and then we can roll that up like that. And then that bit of oat skin will overhang like that. And then we can tie that up. That works well, does that? So that works for that. That's pretty flat. Don't know if we'll be able to roll that up. We'll have a go at rolling that up. Some form or other. And we've got those in there and that. Right, so I really should wash my hands and then we'll grate a bit of cheese. It's just somewhere. I'll wash my hands and then we'll come back when we're ready for just doing up the stuffing type of thing. Right, so I'm not entirely sure how much stuff I'm going to use, but there's about 100 grams of the bread in there, and I've grated about 50 grams worth of cheese. So we'll kind of wing it, as always, and we're going to see how we kind of go. So, the breadcrumbs are far too fresh, but it's alright. So, it'll be fine. A bit sticky and a bit wet. I don't want to puree down in the food processor. So that much bread, that much kind of cheese, maybe spread it out a little bit more. If it goes into the sauce, that's okay. Pat it down, that's what we did before. Not too close to that edge because that's going to be the edge on the outside. So maybe a bit more bread. Being finer breadcrumbs, it would have been better. But, and then you roll up like that. So that should do the job. And then, so my trick with butcher's knots is I can't do them. I really should learn, along with the other things that I should learn. So what you do is you just go. My cheaty butcher tying up things is just to go round once and then round again, and then there's just enough tension in that double knot to hold it without you needing a second person just to hold the knot. So then you can just put another knot in there like that and it holds in place. So again, go around once and again, pull tight. Oh, it needs to be a bit longer. So pull tight, and then there's enough tension in that knot that you can just twist it. It'll hold secure, and then just put a second knot in just to set it in place. And there you go. That is my go-to knot when tying things up because I can't do a proper butcher's knot. Do you know, sometimes you ask people to show you how to do something and they don't want to show you. It's like their little secret and they don't want to share it. And I think it's a bit mean. My dad used to do that. Wouldn't show me how to tie a knot using for fly fishing to tie the hook to the line. He just wouldn't show me. I thought it was just mean of him. He'd show me once quickly and then move on to something else. I don't know why people do things like that. Mind you, I don't share all my secrets. So, tight, pull that way, and do that. So, I'm going to do that to that, and that, and that. So, it's all the same, essentially. We're going to roll that up like that. This one's going to roll up like that, and then we'll tie them all, and then we're going to fry them all off today. I didn't fry off the pork skin bracioles last time, but I think it'll benefit from it this time. So, we'll come back. Do you need to see me frying things off? No, you don't. And then these, I'm just going to cook the these bits of spare meat and skin and things, we'll just use that as pork ragu, I think. No, we'll wrap that one up as well. We'll be able to wrap that one up. Yeah, so we'll stuff them, we'll wrap them, we'll fry them off, and then we'll be back when the sauce is kind of ready and kind of put everything together. Right, so I needed a bigger pan. So these are a little bit too big for that pan. I didn't want to boil over, so I put them in a couple of tins of tomatoes, and I think we're going to need some more tomatoes as well, so it's going to be like 3 tins of tomatoes. So I've just put things in a bigger pan. Those big pork bones have gone down the bottom of the pan, and then that one and that one, because they're the longest, can go in first, and then that can go there like that, and then let the pan's not too hot. Some vegetables on top, just to kind of fill in the gaps. Like that, some vegetables, and then that was a dinky braciole that we did. Oh, it's okay, the gas isn't on anymore. And then we've got these bits of spare meat, so that we're not going to wrap up, and a bit of skin, which is fine, that can kind of cook in and that will cook down nicely. So those on top, get that out of the way so it's not going to burn me somewhere. We're going to put it down. Can't put it down anywhere. We'll put it on top of that. Nope, you can go in the oven. Out of the way. So that's that. So let's get the rest of the vegetables out of there. And then I'm saying 3 tins of tomatoes, 400 grams of tomatoes, but it might need another one in a little bit later, because what tends to happen is as the pork cooks, it'll expand, and then kind of it'll look like there's not enough moisture, but then it'll kind of contract, and then it'll look like there's too much water, there's too much liquid. So we'll kind of just have to play it by ear. But the recipe and all my faffings around will be in the description. Well, a rough idea of the recipe. So then another tin, tomatoes on top. Then we'll give it a shake. Let's see kind of where we are. Yeah, that should be okay. So we'll start off on a relatively bit of stuffing that can go in. Relatively high heat. Get it up to temperature. And then we'll cook it. We'll turn it right down so it has a really slow cook on it. No kind of boiling rapidly or anything like that, because that tends to make the meat stringy, and that's not what we want. We want everything to cook really slowly and gently, and it'll become super tender. Cook is a bit of a mess, but I've been frying stuff and doing other things. I meant to have a day off and not do much, but it never works out like that, does it? Anyway, so up to temperature. Lay it on for a little bit. So turn that down because it's probably a little bit too fierce. So up to boiling point, and then a really slow cook. So we'll probably start it off, move it to that gas jet, because it's a little bit it's smaller than the main gas jet, and then if it's still bubbling a little bit too much, then we'll move it to a really small one, and then it'll just cook, blip away, just a few bubbles now and again, just to make it super tender. Right, so let's have a look. It's been cooking for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours. It's finally ready. So that's the one that's pork belly that's got the skin wrapped around it. And that's the shank. So we'll have a look in either. I have had some thoughts about this, and I don't think this is going to be the last time that I cook this dish. I think there's another video about cooking pasta, using some of the cooking liquid to cook the pasta. That'll be it. That's like an add-on video. So that was kind of quite interesting what I did with that, and then I've done cooked some beans, and just kind of taken some of the juice from that and kind of warmed up some cooked beans. So. And I think the scope with that as well. So I'm not done with this yet. There will be another video, and it will be the definitive one. So let's look into the shank, and we'll have a see if we really should be. Well, we're going to have a taste as well. If we really should be leaving the skin on or leaving it off, which is kind of like a personal preference. I think it's kind of a flavour to it. It all depends if you kind of want to eat the skin or not. If you're a bit of a savage like me, then the answer is yes, you want to eat the skin, but it might not be to everyone's kind of taste, so we'll just kind of have to see. But it certainly adds flavour. It certainly adds flavour. But I think we can cook in the next version of this. I think we can just add the skin to the dish. Once we can take the skin off the pork belly or the shank, and we can just simply cook it in there as it's cooking, and then take the skin out afterwards, so we get all the flavour from the skin without actually having it wrapped around, because not everyone's going to want to eat that, unless they're going to pick it off and throw it away. So I don't know. There's going to be another version, and I'll do how I'd finish it off the dish. In fact, and kind of add to it as well. So I've got a few ideas. So there will be another version. So we'll just let's cut there. So we'll make sure we've definitely got some stuff in. That's alright. See, it's got that layer of fat, which is not really what people are going to want to eat. I'm fine with it. I don't think everyone else would be. Damn, I think that's going to be the nicer one. I think the shank's going to be nicer. Right, let's taste. They're both really good. They're both really good. So it's kind of like a down to a kind of what you want to do and how you like your food. I'd eat that like that, and certainly like a rustic peasant type of dish. That would be right up my street, and I would order that in a restaurant and thoroughly enjoy it. But most people aren't going to enjoy the skin and the fat like that at all. It's not going to be their cup of tea. So I kind of think that probably the best version would be to do the layers of meat. But I've got some more ideas. So I'll do it again. I'm not going to do it again this week, but I think in a few weeks' time, a couple of weeks' time, I'll do it again, and I'll do a definitive version, and in the video we'll do it twice. So we'll do one where we cook some beans, some beans that are raw, and then put them in like in the last hour of the cooking of the meat. That'll be kind of quite interesting, because all the beans will take on that flavour. So they'll end up looking like that. So they're going to be delicious. And then I'll do a version with the pasta as well. So I'll do two different pans. Yeah, this is me just thinking things through. Yeah, so I think I'll do it again. I'll do a definitive version. I'll do it two different ways, and probably in both versions I'll wrap one in the skin, and we'll have one with just the meat as well. So we'll kind of, and then we'll cook one with the beans, and we'll cook one with the pasta, and I think that'll work really kind of well. But yeah, I really like that. But not everyone's cup of tea. Not everyone's cup of tea because of that fat. Whereas this is the one that didn't have the fat on, and you can see that there was fat around the outside of it, but it's all melted away, and all that goodness has gone into the sauce. So, but anyway, a success for me. and it's going to lead somewhere else, which is just as interesting. So that's it for now. There'll be another video, and there's a video on how about cooking pasta as well. So that'll probably come after this one, or maybe before. I haven't decided yet. We'll see.